Yo, welcome in, man. Some people call it the Lord's Word. Other people call it the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Either way, welcome in, man. Top of the morning. Today is December the 30th. We got, I think it's about 7-8 games on the NBA slate for today. So we're going to get into it. Quick recap, comments, jaXon, and then game time like always. 1-0 day for me yesterday. Only official play I ended up making was the Indiana Pacers plus the 11.5. They won the game outright against Boston. Talked about it on the show. Just wanted to see what was going to happen with Porzingis and Drew Holiday. As soon as I saw Porzingis was out, I was like, yeah, they probably playing around with this game, and that's what they did. And Indiana cleaned them up. We did see some other things that happened yesterday that I didn't expect to happen. Waited on the injury report and a lot of the other games as well. Won't go through all of them, but just real quick, Brooklyn jumping out early in Orlando. Orlando did come back and win the game. Toronto never showed up. That was a rare, just kind of dud performance. Atlanta beat them even on the second leg of a back-to-back with Atlanta, with Toronto flipping to a favorite. Memphis ruled out too many players. I talked about liking the under a lot yesterday. It just kept going up. Everybody that was on injury report ended up being ruled out. They didn't have Brandon Clark. Edie ended up getting ruled out. I was like, they don't have any rim protection. So I stayed off the total in that game. Thank God I did, because it went up and over. Miami punked Houston yesterday, specifically in the fourth quarter, even though Tyler Hero ended up being the one thrown on the ground. Glad I stayed off of that. Glad the number moved, because I was definitely liking Miami yesterday. And then I did like San Antonio plus the 6.5. They ended up almost winning that game outright. So just a quick recap of yesterday. Let's jump into it for today. What up, Fear Elite? Says good morning, Chris and everyone. Let's get into it. Reeman here as always. Says great day. Let's get it, everyone. What up, LJ? Says top of the morning, Chris. Chicago team total over on the road is a gift. We're gonna talk about it. GLB Bets, morning, bro. Jadon says, yo, what's good? Today is a money-making Monday. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm in VA, Kurt, in Virginia. What up, Jose? G Hurt in here as always. Charles says, good morning, Chris and chat. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's start the week off right with some cash. I need it. What up, Mark? Mark in here. Carry on. Merrill always in here with me, riding with me this morning. What up, Tariq? TC and Bets in here. Jay Aries in here. Marquise says, we finally got the Dorian Finney-Smith trade and shake. When the hell will Vanderbilt and Wood start playing? They holding us back. So we need to get rid of Christian Wood first and foremost. He hasn't. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was telling him Christian Wood almost like Giannis' little brother. He never plays. He just on the team. It felt like it's been 2 years since Christian Wood played a basketball game for the Lakers. We can get rid of him. We don't need Christian Wood. But we do need Vandy back. We get Vandy back, and we go be a defensive juggernaut. I'm super happy about the trade. Send D'Lo back to New York or Brooklyn, and let us get DFS. Shake Milton, I don't think is going to even touch the rotation. I know he's been playing well in the reserve role. I don't even think he's going to crack our rotation though. What up, Peasy? Says top of the morning. OMG, I didn't know the Raptors were so terrible. 6 turnovers without a shot attempt to start the game. I was looking to live bet it. I could never feel like confidently would jump in. I know they had like 20 turnovers yesterday. Morning, Brian. Appreciate you for tapping in. All right, let's jump into it for today. A lot of comments coming in. I'm trying to get to all of them. I can't. What's up, Can't Stop? Someone says Indiana Pacers showed up and showed out. Yeah, we needed it. Thank you, Tyrese Halliburton. Ryan just took the clips. We're going to get into all the games. Let's jump into it for today, man. Start off with jaXon, as we always do. jaXon is what you guys see on the screen. It's your AI sports betting buddy. Saves you tons of hours on your research, whether you're looking at player props, game lines, fantasy sports, which I always forget. It's in a bunch of different languages, player props, total sides, you name it, right? Last 5 games, last 10 games, it can make you charts. So many great things you can do with jaXon, not just for NBA, but for NFL, for MLB, for college basketball, you name it, man. People still sleep on jaXon. Better wake up, man. Use promo code ChrisBeCappinn 2 P's 2 N's if you guys are interested in checking out to save yourself 50% off. Let's jump into it for today. So first thing I wanted to ask jaXon about was the Bulls and the Hornets. First game we got up today. I wanted to know about the total specifically. So jaXon tells me, it gives me a table, first and foremost, last 5 games advanced stats, and it has the Bulls scoring 110 points per game, the Hornets scoring 107. The Bulls allowing 119, which isn't great. Hornets allowing 112. The Bulls offensive rating 110, Hornets offensive rating 105, defensive rating for the Bulls 118, defensive rating for Hornets 115. And then it has some pace numbers. The Bulls playing about 100, and then the Hornets playing 98 is their pace. So analysis on the total combined scoring trends. Over the last 5 games, the Bulls and Hornets have combined for an average of 214.5 points per game. The Bulls 110, the Hornets 103. 111 to 103. Defensively, they've allowed a combined 231.8 total points per game. The Bulls allowing 119, the Hornets allowing 113. Pace of play, the Bulls Bulls play at a slightly faster pace, 100 possessions per 48 minutes compared to the Hornets 98. This suggests a moderate tempo for the game, which could limit the total scoring potential. Potential slightly. Offensive and defensive ratings. Both teams have struggled defensively, with the Bulls posting a 118.5 defensive rating, the Hornets posting a 115.808 defensive rating. This indicates that both teams are allowing a high number of points per 100 possessions, which could push the total higher. Offensively, the Bulls have a slight edge with the 110.5 offensive rating compared to a 105 for the Hornets. Recent betting trends. The total for the game is set at 226.5. The Bulls have gone under the total in 6 of their last 10 games, including an active streak of just 1. The Hornets have gone under the total in 6 of their 10 games with the active streak of 4 consecutive unders. Head-to-head in their last matchup, December 13th, which was pretty recently. It was that 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. The Bulls defeated the Hornets 109 to 95, resulting in a total of 204 points, which went under the current line of 226.5. Recommendations. Given the advanced stats and recent trends, the under 226.5 looks like a stronger play. Both teams have been trending towards lower scoring games recently, and the combined scoring average in the last 5 games, 214 points, is well below the line. Additionally, the Hornets' slower pace and recent offensive struggles further support the under. So that's what you can get with jaXon, man. I always tell people to check jaXon out if you guys are interested. We're going to jump right into that game. Bulls Hornets line opened at 6. Total open 227.5. We have seen some money coming on the under here, pushing this down to 226.5. So, and I just want to say this. I know I don't know what kind of streak jaXon is on because I don't always write it down. I can go back and check the videos, but jaXon has been killing too. jaXon was on the under yesterday between the Brooklyn Nets and the Orlando Magic, and there was a winner. Saturday, I can't remember what jaXon was on, but whatever jaXon was on was another winner. jaXon been killing. So I never blindly tell jaXon, of course, but I never do that, but those plays have been absolutely crushing it. And this makes a lot of sense with the money already coming in on under. So let's jump into the matchup. We got injury report first and foremost. I did see, and I just want to double check. We got Josh Giddey, game time decision. More so probable for Josh Giddey though. Then we got Zach LaVine, game time decision. He's also probable. Jalen Smith is truly questionable for the Bulls. And then DeSumo is out. I'm pretty sure DeSumo is, not expect to suit up. Yeah, he's not going to play. So more listed as doubtful. On the Charlotte side, you got Cody Martin is doubtful. Brandon Miller is doubtful. LaMelo Ball is doubtful. So, I mean, without those players, it does kind of feel like so Charlotte is a train wreck, first and foremost. Without those players, I'm not looking towards Charlotte. This is simple handicap for me. I know that the Bulls are not great. I'm not laying 6 with the Bulls, but the Bulls have been good in this spot. I've looked at it. I did go back and check it. So just real quick, head-to-head, Chicago's actually owned the Hornets. They've won 7 straight. They've covered all 7. 8-2 in the last 10 straight up. 7-3, 8-2 straight up and against the spread in the last 10. they absolutely own this Hornets team. So you can say Lonzo owns his little brother, because not that he's been contributing a lot, but I will say this: Lonzo actually scored a season high 10 points the last time these two teams played against each other when he matched up against his little brother. 7-3 to the under in the last 10 head-to-head matchups as well. So you got a Chicago team that beat Milwaukee on Saturday, beat them by 5 as a 2-point home dog after losing 3 straight games. Like, Chicago that's what they are, and that's one of the reasons why I can't bet them. They just so Jekyll and Hyde. You have no idea what you're gonna get from this Bulls team. You know what you're gonna get from the Hornets though. They're gonna play slow. They're not gonna score the basketball. 1-9 straight up. 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. 7 straight losses. I think they've lost 16 of their last 17 games. I'm not looking towards the Hornets in any way or fashion. 6.5 is 6.5 is a big number. But if LaMelo and Brandon Miller don't play, they probably lose the game by double digits, even against the Bulls. It was an interesting quote I was reading about the game, and then I'll just go through the comments. And I will talk about one player prop that I was looking into. But an interesting quote I was reading about this game, and it came from Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine says, quote, "We're capable of beating anybody, and we've shown we can lose to anyone and have terrible games." And I think that's a perfect depiction of who the Chicago Bulls are. I can't put my money on them, specifically coming off a win. They've been a lot better coming off a loss this season. To put some numbers to that really quickly, I do have some stuff. So the Bulls are, let's see. The Bulls are so they are 3-2 as a favorite. They haven't been a favorite that often, covering 60% of their 5 games so far. On the road, they're 8-7, so covering 53% of their games. Against conference opponents, 13-9-1, so covering 59% of their games. After a previous loss, the Bulls are actually 11-7 against the spread, covering 61%. After a win, which they're coming off a win, 4-8 against the spread, only covering 33%. So just up and down, like super non-trustworthy team are the Chicago Bulls. Looking at the Hornets, though, boy, I just can't get that. I mean, they are great not great, but they're profitable as a dog, 16-12. So I don't expect them to roll over and lay down, but I need to know the status of Brandon Miller and LaMelo. And like I said, since Mark Williams has been back, they've been getting absolutely smoked. So I'm not looking towards this team right now. Not looking towards them at all. I also want to check. I want to check 2 more things real quick before I go through the comments. The first one is the Bulls as a road favorite. I feel like, the Bulls have been road favorites twice. They beat the Wizards by 19 in this spot earlier this season, and they beat the Raptors. They were laying 1, and they won the game by 1. They did score 127 and 122 in this spot. That was against faster-paced teams in the Wizards and the Raptors. Hornets play super slow. So I do kind of lean towards the under here, with the idea that LaMelo and Brandon Miller are not going to play. All right, that is one thing I wanted to check. I can't remember exactly. It was 2 things I wanted to check, but I can't remember what the other thing was. So let's go to player props. One that I kind of was eyeing, had my eye on. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. All right, so this is, I'm looking specifically at Coby White. Let's call it Cody. So Coby White was listed at 17.5 last night. He's still 17.5. You can see here. Coby White. Coby White is he's over in 60% of his games so far. You can see all the green. He's been cashing like really well. We can filter this to just road games. You can see that he's over at 67%, so it gets a little bit better at 17.5 points. You can also filter this. You can take the road filter out. You can look at Coby White play without Ayo Dosunmu because he will not be in today. You can see it's only been 2 games so far this season. He's gone up and over in both numbers. And then you can take that designation out and you can just look at the head-to-head matchups. He's played against him 5 times in his career. He's gone up and over the number in every single game, 17.5 points, including one time earlier this season where like he landed right at 18 points. And this game was at home against Charlotte. But Coby White is actually from Charlotte. So he probably got some family and friends there. He's crushed it against him in his career. We've seen shifty guards like really expose the defense of the Charlotte Hornets. Most recently, I want to say I know Tyrese Maxey, and granted, Coby White is no Tyrese Maxey. I'm not saying that, but shifty guards that can shoot the ball and get downhill, I think can find some success against Charlotte. We've seen recently, I'm pretty sure Shea had a good game. Jordan Poole had a good game. Even Fred VanVleet, but I know Maxey has absolutely crushed this team so far this season. They just really struggle against guards, shifty guards that can get downhill for the Charlotte Hornets. So that's the way that I'd be looking as Coby White up and over his 17.5 points. Gave you guys a lot of support and data. Haven't locked it in yet, but I like that the number's actually coming back because this was minus 120 last night. It's minus 115 today. Minus 115 right now, or at least one place got it at minus 115. So that's what I'm looking at there. Didn't really handicap any of the other player props in the game. That was the one that just kind of stuck out to me based on some of the reading that I was doing. All right, comments. What are people thinking about this one? That's what I get for fading my Hawks. Yeah, I didn't think that was coming last night, Justin. But yeah, they looked great, man. Brian says, "Hey Chris, did jaXon pick the under in the Magic game yesterday?" Absolutely did. It was a winner. I think so. I know the game ended up going over. I think it finished at 102-103 yesterday, right? What that game finished at yesterday? I think it finished at 203. Yeah, and jaXon liked under 204. I said I wasn't gonna play under because I thought it fell a little bit too low. But on the show yesterday, it was at 204.5, and jaXon liked the under 204. So it was a scary winner, but it was a winner, and that opened at 209 too. Let's see what y'all saying about this. What up, Helms? Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Hope all is well with you. Can't Stop says, Chris, I'm feeling sharper than Big Mama's knives right now because I got under 228.5 in my pocket, locked it in last night. It's a good look, so this total goes up, of course, right? If LaMelo and Brandon Miller gets ruled in, and that's one of the reasons why I'm just kind of sitting on the sideline. But under is definitely something that I'm considering. Under 226.5, depending on what you could find between the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. And real quick, just on the season, Charlotte is 20-11 to the under. So they're going like, what is that, 65%? 65% of their games are actually going under. 4 straight unders, 5, 6, 7. 7 of their last 9 games have gone under. This is one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. We cannot, fool ourselves in thinking that the Bulls are a good offense because that's one thing that they absolutely aren't. The Chicago Bulls are actually, the Charlotte Hornets are actually the second worst offense last 5 games. Shooting the worst effective field goal percentage. They're turning the ball over a lot, even though the Bulls don't force a lot of turnovers. Bottom 10 offensive rebounding team. They're not doing a lot well right now. The Charlotte Hornets just struggling, not playing with pace. Bottom five, and actually the worst team as far as getting out in transition and scoring buckets as well. What up, Zach Vet says, morning gang, nice to catch it live. Appreciate you for being here. Dougie Bone says, I'll take Miller rebounds in the under. Merrill says he likes Levine over his 2.5 made threes. Morning, Aaron. Giddey assists as well. Giddey is coming off a triple-double. Trip-dub Giddey. Josh Giddey over his 19.5 points for Christian Council. I think this is a new name, but appreciate you for being here this morning. Brian says Chicago first half, full game. It should be a bull spot tonight. So real quick, do I still got it pulled up? And this is how my brain works, man. I have so much, even if I'm not betting it, it's so much information that I want to bring to the show. And I was looking into the Bulls have been the best first quarter team recently. Now I don't like it as much with them, coming off a win, but the Bulls off a loss have been money. I want to put some numbers to that real quick. I was looking into this last night. Let's see. So first quarter spread for the Chicago Bulls. They've been one of the fastest starting teams in the NBA. The Bulls are on the full season. On the full season, just 15-16. But I was looking at, here we go. Last 10 games, the Bulls are actually 9-1 against the spread in the first quarter. Like they're running it up in the first quarter. 9-1 against the spread. They've been the best first quarter team in the NBA last 10 games. The second best is the Houston Rockets. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets are 2-7-1 against the spread in the first quarter. So they've been getting down big early. So something to take into consideration. Mark says Moneyballer also likes the under. He said Moneyballer also looks under. Pretty sure it's a lot of red stuff there, Mark. So I couldn't disagree with you at all. What up, Big Smooth? Says top of the morning, Chris in chat. Angel Reese made that. Should have read this before reading it out loud, man. You gotta relax. Charles White he's a fool, man. He is a fool. Bulls are nothing. Derek says he likes Bridges over his 7.5 rebounds and potentially he says he like the double at plus 230. Bulls allowed the second most rebounds to the power forward position. Bulls last 5 games gave up 9 rebounds to Bobby Portis, 15 to Jalen Johnson, 13 to Bobby Portis, 15 to Tatum. He was on that one. And 10 to Tatum again. Okay. That makes sense if we think they can play some defense here. Little Bridges rebound love. I couldn't talk you off, Derek. I like that. Okay. He says he's also cleared 7.5 and 5 of his last 7. Mitchell says under a pass. She cashed with the Hawks yesterday. All right. Let's see. We got some Hornets team total love. That's scary. Hornets team total. Bulls defense is so bad, but I get it. Let's keep going. I feel like we've been on this game for too long. Not you, Charles. The other Charles White, the comedian Charles White. I know what Smoothie was talking about because I did see that interview. He's talking about WNBA on Jeff Teague podcast, the 520, 540, whatever. I think it's 520 pod. All right, let's keep it moving. Next game we got up is the Knicks. New York Knickerbockers still in DC. They've been there all weekend. Just beat this Washington Wizards team. They're laying 11.5 in this spot. Line hasn't moved. Total has moved. It opened 228.5 is what I see. It's up to 230.5. There's some 231s on the board as well. So if you're interested in the total, definitely shop around. We got injury report. Jordan Poole listed as questionable for the Washington Wizards. He didn't even play in that last game. And we saw the Washington Wizards score the ball really, really well in that last game. So he's listed as questionable. Marvin Bagley landed on, was it his leg, his knee, or his back? It's a lower body injury for Bagley. He won't be in this game. Kuzma is actually supposed to return. He hasn't played in, seems like forever. But Kuzma's supposed to play, probably going to be on a little minutes limit today. And then on the New York Knicks side of things, Jalen Brunson is the only person listed as questionable with some, I think it's calf tightness or hamstring tightness. I think it's one of the lower leg tightness. Interesting to see what they do. I did look into the Knicks spot. I feel like they didn't have like a super big game coming up. Maybe they just want to rest them after needing them to score 55 points in that last game. Probably ain't going to overtime. Like you can't. I know that the Knicks were coming off the second leg of a back-to-back. They had just beat Orlando the next day, the night before. You can't have to go to overtime with the Washington Wizards though. Like we know Thibodeau runs his players into the ground. This is not good for your mileage, man. This is not good for your mileage for the full season when Brunson got to play that many minutes because you can't get a stop against the Washington Wizards. Like you don't really want that to happen too frequently. You don't want that to happen too frequently at all, and that's what happened. So I'm interested to see what happens with Brunson. I think he could potentially like really miss this game. The Knicks should be able to beat him without him, but that's going to influence the spread a lot. And somebody mentioned this the other day, but you got to give the Wizards a little bit of credit. I'm not into giving the Wizards a little bit of credit, but I guess you could. They've been playing a little bit better. But let's jump into the Knicks side of things first. So Knicks, just like I said, Washington just took this team to the brink. Lost the Wizards lost 132 to 136 in overtime on Friday night. They were getting 13 points in that game. This line is a lot. I wouldn't say a lot shorter, but it is shorter. 1.5 shorter at 11.5. That game went over the 225.5 in regulation. This total opened up higher, which is typically, means that the game's going to go up and over in the next game. And on the Washington Wizards side of things, just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games, but they are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 games. This is the third of a 4-game homestand. They got the Bulls coming up on New Year's Day, so no look ahead spot. Still at the crib, back-to-back covers against the Hornets, won that game, and against the Knicks. Can they do it 2 games in a row? I have a hard time believing that they. I wouldn't say I have a hard time believing that they can't cover, because 11.5 points is a lot. I need to see what happens with Jalen Brunson, though. I have a hard time thinking the Wizards are going to shoot the ball this well again. That was my thing. Champagnie, I watched this game. Champagnie shot 13 for 15 from the field, 5 of 6 from the three-point line, finished with 31 points. I have a hard time thinking that's going to happen again. Brogdon stepped in, played really well for Jordan Poole at 22 points, which I think was a season high for him. He hit 3 of his 7 threes. Keyshawn George hit 3 of his 7 threes. They shot 17 for 38 from the three-point line, 45%, 52% from the field. The Wizards have only shot that well, I want to say, twice on the full season. So, do I think that comes back down? Yes, that's why I didn't play the over. And I wouldn't be involved with this total without knowing the status of Jalen Brunson. So people are pushing it up. The market is pushing it up. Shout out to the market. I'm not a part of the market. I think the Knicks play a little bit better in this spot, though. They only shot 25% from the three-point line the last game. So not anything that I played in this one. In these quick revenge spots, you typically want to take the team that got smoked in the last one. Neither one of the teams got smoked, though. And the Knicks really could beat the Wizards by 40 points if they really tried. So I won't be involved. I will give the Wizards a little bit of credit. They are starting to play a little bit better, but can't play it without knowing the status of Poole or without knowing the status of Brunson. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, if anything at all. Brunson just had 55. He did have 55. Merrill says he likes Bilal Kumawale over his 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Maybe I'll pull that one up. What's up, Tasha? Brian says Wizards at home first quarter has been good money, but it's a true gamble with Washington. So to this comment right here from Brian, I was also looking at the Wizards last night and the Knicks in the first quarter. The Knicks have been getting off to very slow starts. The Knicks are last 5 games first quarter. The Knicks are 0-5 against the spread in the first quarter. If you watch the Orlando game that they played on Friday, they got off to a super slow start, had to end up coming back and having a great third quarter. Against the Wizards, they got off to a slow start. I don't even think they had the lead at the end of the first quarter. Actually, they didn't have the lead. They were laying 13 points and didn't even have the lead in that game. Gave up 33 points in the first quarter to the Wizards. They failed to cover 5 straight spreads in the first quarter, have the New York Knicks. The Washington Wizards on the other side, 4-0, 4-0-1, one push in here in their last 5 games in the first quarter. So to your point, Brian, they have been playing a lot better in the first quarter. Just can't solidify it for the full game. Last 10 games, they're 6-4. So last 5 games has been a little bit better than the last 10. But yeah, this team has been playing a little bit better, specifically at the crib. Now, does that mean that the Knicks, don't want to dig themselves in a hole early in this spot? Try to come out with something early? I can see that as well. This is a funky game, especially without knowing the injury report. Merrill says he likes Bridges over his 18.5 points. It's been a wagon, man. Look it up. So maybe I'll look into that one. And then there was one more I wanted to look into. What was it? The Bilal look as well. Jalen Brunson assists has been a wagon, Merrill says. That has been a wagon. I looked at that. I actually talked about that. That was on the short list the other day. I think it was 7.5 juiced. 8.5 was plus money. He got both the other day. Of course, it went to overtime, though. Let's see. Cat over his 24.5. Mitchell says, I can see it. I can definitely see that. Blindly taking Hart's rebounds and assists, Jose says. Pete says Bilal, part of what the Knicks couldn't stop. He's going to do it again. 25 plus combo is 120 plus 120. Running it back. Tariq says it was Brunson's night last night. It's Cat's turn tonight. I could definitely see that. They have nobody that can guard him. Isaiah, Josh Hart over his rebounds. I can see that. Costco says he likes Alex Sarr over his threes. Okay. All right. Let's go look at Let's go look at these two plays that Merle's talking about in the chat. So let's go first to it was two, right? Two I started. Oh, Mikal Bridges over his points, which he has been playing a lot better. I still just don't trust him. It's not a guy that I trust, but Bridges has been hooping. I mean, he gets one of the worst defenses in the league. So let me talk you off. We talking about points specifically, and this is Outlier for people that are interested or new to the channel. There is a link if you're interested in using this software. There is a link in the description of the video that'll get you 50%. That'll get you 7-day free trial. Just use the link in the description. If you like it, keep it. If you don't keep it. But it's super helpful with handicapping, specifically handicapping player props for myself. All right, so Bridges 18.5 points. Looks like he's up and over in 6 of his last 10 games. 20 coming off a 21-point game. Head to head, they have played this season. He kills the Wizards for whatever reason, averaging, it looks like 20 point, almost 20.5 points, or right at 20. Line set at 18.5. They have played twice this season, 1 over, 1 under. If we look at just road games, road games he hasn't played as well in. Only 4 of his 18 games. I do not like that. Do not like that at all. But he has been playing, I guess, a little bit better recently. It started off really bad. He had that hitch in his jump shot, if y'all remember that. Okay, yeah, I ain't gonna talk you off. I ain't gonna look into it too much more either. I don't want Bridges though. If Brunson gets rolled out, this is a steal though. Just FYI, something to kind of take into consideration. And then we got Bilal. I know he's been hooping. Kuzma coming back could potentially cut into his usage a little bit. Something that you gotta think about. And mention points, rebounds, and assists. He is a Swiss Army knife. A little bit of a Swiss Army knife. So 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. All right, so we go full season overlook first. You can see that he's only cashed in 44% of his games. We can see recently he's been crushing it. So let's just look at last 10. 7 of the last 10. Of course, this includes, 100% of the last 5. We come down, we can see the potential assists are up 8, 7, 10, and 9, up from just the 7s over here. His rebound chances are up. Outside the last game where he only had 8. His minutes, really consistent, about 34 per game. Field goal attempts are up 7, 10, 9, and 13 over here. But now we get into 20, 18, 13, 14, 16, and 17. So he's shooting the ball a little bit more, shooting right about 39%. Threes aren't really falling, only shooting 31%. Getting to the free throw line though. In a couple of these games, averaging, what is that? Almost 3.5 attempts per game. And then we can see his rebounding as well, defensive and offensive rebounding. So 22.5 does feel solid. I like this look right here. I do like this look a little bit more than Bridges too. Even though Kuzma coming back could kind of play into his minutes, his usage. I'm sorry. And then we can go defense versus position too. We can see that the Knicks are really solid defensively and points allowed, rebounds allowed, and assists allowed. To the small forward position though, look at that, bottom 5 in points allowed to the power forward, to the small forward position. 17th in rebounds allowed, so not great there. They are a little bit better at assists, only the top 10 in assists. So nice look here by Merle. Looking at Bilal, I'm gonna write this down. Over 22.5. I might even look points plus rebounds and take the assists out, but I'll write that one down, put it on the short list. All right, next game up. Can't spend too much time here. Next game up, we'll go. We'll go Clippers and Pelicans. Man, I was super close to pulling the trigger with the Clippers yesterday in this spot. Let me just make sure we got updated line. Actually coming down to 5 now. So yeah, you get a better number. Total hasn't moved a lot at all. Still sitting at about 221. All right, so we got injury report. Misi is listed as questionable. He fell on his back, I think it was, and hurt himself in that last game. I think he's gonna play though. He did go through practice yesterday, based on what I was looking into. Jose Alvarado also due to make a return really soon. Probably won't be tonight, but he's been going through practice. I saw Zion was doing some non-contact stuff as well. He's gonna be back soon, or he's gonna be back sometime. But Jose Alvarado is really close to coming back. I think Misi plays today though. On the Clippers side of things, I did see that Kevin Porter Jr. was off the injury report. Looks like he's gonna be back. So yeah, Kawhi Leonard is supposed to be making a return, I think, on the 4th. So he'll be back within the next week, as long as he doesn't have any setbacks. And that's the injury report. Head-to-head wise between the Clippers and the Pelicans have owned them. They've actually won 8 of the last 10 games. This has been the little brother to the Pelicans, are the Clippers. 8-10 in the last 10 games, including 3-1 straight up and against the spread when they matched up in the last 4 games last season. 4 straight unders. 8 of the last 10 games have actually gone under the total in the head-to-head matchup as well. So a lot of support towards the under. Looking at the Clippers specifically, they've won 4 of their last 5 straight up and against the spread. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game in San Antonio versus the Spurs tomorrow. For the Pelicans, not great. This is, very similar to the Charlotte Hornets, in my opinion. They've lost 9 straight games, only covered 1 of the last 6 games, 7-3 to the over because their defense has been pretty poor as of late. And I think they have only won 1 of like their last 17, 18 games as well. Like this is a 5 in 2017. We got to keep that in mind. So when I was looking at the game last night, I was like, man, 6 is a lot to lay on the road, 6.5, a lot to lay on the road. Now that it's coming back down to 5, it intrigues me. I think the Clippers are the right side. Not looking towards the Pelicans, not trying to catch that falling knife and be sharp or whatever you want to call it. I pick my spots when I want to do that. I don't think that the Pelicans are the right side here. So when I was looking into it yesterday, there was a couple things that helped me up though. Start with the good for the Clippers. This is the league's 3rd best defense over the last 5 games. They're actually number 1 in opponent effective field goal percentage. You just need them to not give up a ton of offensive rebounds here, in my opinion. Last 5 games, they've allowed the 3rd most offensive rebounds, which is important because the Pelicans is actually the only thing that they can do well is offensive rebound in basketball. Real quick, let me get to it. Okay. All right. So last 5 games, the Pelicans are actually 6th best offensive rebounding team. What did I put in my notes? So the Clippers are allowing the 3rd most offensive rebounds. The Pelicans are the 6th best offensive rebounding team. They are going to fight. Like they're going to show some grit. I agree with all that. I just don't think that they got enough offense. I think the Clippers are a good defensive team, and I think that they could hold this Pelicans team down as long as they're not giving up a ton of offensive rebounds. So looking at the Clippers offense specifically, they've been attacking the rim a little bit more than shooting a lot of jump shots. They're 9th in rim frequency, 18th in accuracy, 9th in paint frequency, 12th in accuracy. So you like that because the Pelicans aren't the greatest defensive team specifically at the rim, but they also don't defend the 3-point line. So the Clippers could potentially get hot from the 3-point line here. Would not surprise me at all. Clippers also been pushing pace. They're actually the fastest paced team as far as transition frequency last 5 games, but they're not scoring a lot. Bottom 5 in scoring, even though they are pushing pace. The Pelicans are a terrible transition defense. They allow teams to run at the 5th highest rate. They are 12th at getting back and limiting teams from scoring in that department, though. When I flip this and I look at the Pelicans offense, and then we'll talk about a few trends, and I'll go through the comments. When I look at the Pelicans offense versus the Clippers defense, I just told you guys that they were the 3rd best defense over the last 5 games. The Pelicans are a terrible offense. They're 27th in points scored per 100 possessions, 28th in effective field goal percentage, A lot of it is they really struggle to shoot the 3-point shot. They're 27th in accuracy, only shooting 31%. Overall, 29% from above the break three, which is the second worst. They are trying to attack the mid-range a lot. 14th in mid-range and long mid-range frequency, 7th in long mid-range accuracy. That's their best shot profile. Like outside of that, they aren't doing anything else well. We know they got tons of guys that can pull up from CJ McCollum to what's the guy name? DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy. Like they got a bunch of guys that can pull up and get to the mid-range. The Clippers are a top 5 defense, a top 10 defense against every shot zone. Top 5 against every shot top 5 defense against every shot zone except the corner 3, which they're top 10, they're 9th. So a lot of green on the defensive side for the Clippers. I do think they can hold this Pelicans team down. When I look at the Pelicans, they are pushing pace a lot. The 6th in transition frequency, which is problematic because the Clippers, while their defense has been playing good, they haven't been doing a great job of slowing teams down in transition. So that could potentially, I don't think the Pelicans are going to be able to score the ball consistently, but that is a little bit of an advantage. So 2 things, if you like the Pelicans in this spot, is their ability to offensive rebound the basketball. They should be there, especially if Messi plays, and I'm thinking that he does. And then you also just got the grit. Like they are going to fight. Eventually, this Pelicans team is going to cover a game and win a game. I just don't think it's going to come against a really good defensive team. And then the other thing was, like I said, transition frequency. They have been getting out pushing. 6th in transition frequency, only 22nd in points scored, but the Clippers are bottom 5 in allowing teams to get out and run, and bottom 5 in points allowed off transition defense. So that's the only thing that's really been an Achilles heel for the Clippers here. I do think the Clippers are the right side. This is one of those games where I would probably play first half full game or take a Clippers win margin. We always, I know I always fail to talk about or to even play those 1-10 win margins, but the Clippers 1-10 win margin feels like it's appropriate in this spot. I think they covered them. I think they covered the spread as well, but Clippers 1-10 to be safer. And then a Clippers first half full game. You can get those first half kind of like money line parlays. You just need them to be winning at the end of the first half. You need them to be winning at the end of the full game. You don't even care about the spread. I know DraftKings offers those. FanDuel offers those. Those are typically the sports books that I go to when I'm looking to play those. I think Bet365 offers those as well. Clippers first half full game money line would be the ways that I would want to get involved in this game specifically, and I want to see if I can find those numbers. This is actually dropped to 4.5 now, so sharp money is coming in on the Clippers. I mean on the Pelicans. I can't say that I would agree with it. Cannot say that I would agree with it at all. Let's see. Want to see if I can find that. So first half full game. You can get Clippers minus 110 to be winning the first half and to win the full game minus 110. I don't think that's a bad look at all. Writing that down, putting that on my short list on FanDuel. No juice. All right, let's see what you guys are thinking here. I've been talking for a lot. Trey Murphy over his points. He has been hooping. Devon, couldn't talk you off a little Trey Murphy love. What up, chasing the bag? Sean says under 221.5. 4-1 to the under last 5 matchups. Yeah, I mentioned that. Norman Powell over his points. Couldn't talk you off of that. He's been hooping. Both of these guys have been hooping. Trey Murphy and Norman Powell. They trying to make a case for Norman Powell to go to the All-Star game this year. Charles says Murphy most reliable active shooter on this G League Pelican squad. I would agree. They got to, yeah, I would agree. I ain't gonna jump into that. Clippers all day. I like the under also, Jose says. So maybe a team total under for the Pelicans specifically, which I could see that. I could see Clippers coming out here and locking them up. As long as, like I said, as long as they're not giving up a ton of offensive rebounds. Pelicans team total is 108.5. I do think that's a solid look. Even if the Clippers offense is struggling, I think the Pelicans defense could be Pelicans could struggle to score the basketball. I'm gonna write that down. New Orleans team total under 108.5. I'll look a little bit more into that after the show. It's minus 115 right now on FanDuel. All right, that is that comment. Clippers here for Brian. Brian says Clippers first half full game under as well. Spread looks fishy for an unmotivated Pelicans team. Yeah, the Pelicans, I feel like a lot of this, they haven't been covering spreads. I feel like they have been like, you've been trying to catch the falling knife with the Pelicans if you've been betting them. Like I said, they're only won in 19 in their last 20 games, and they've only covered one of the last 7 games. So market did this the other day with the Kings as well, right? You just want to take the team that nobody wants to take. Sometimes it covers, sometimes it don't. Well, the Kings got smoked by the Lakers in that spot. If we're looking at trends specifically, I failed to mention this, but the Clippers, the best ATS team in the NBA as a road favorite this season. So for my trend people, which sometimes I like to look at them, sometimes I don't, they have been excellent. So the Clippers this season, 20-11 against the spread in general, covering 64% of the time. That's great. On the road, covering a lot, 9-5 against the spread, 64.3% as a favorite in general, 8-2. So they're covering 80% of the time as a favorite. In conference games, 16-9, 64%. Coming off a win, they're 12-5 against the spread, 70.6%. So they don't let down too much in this spot. The Pelicans off a loss, 9-17 against the number, covering 34% of the time. In conference games, 8-11, covering 42% of the time. At home, 8-9 against the spread, 47% of the time. As a dog, 10-16 against the spread, 38% of the time. It's nothing that makes me want to take the Pelicans in this spot, man. Nothing. I just gave you guys a whole bunch of trends that are green and a whole bunch of trends that are red. And the red trends support the Pelicans. So yeah, that road favorite role was the other thing that I wanted to talk about just really quickly for the Clippers. I mentioned them as a favorite, being 9-1 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. They're winning by an average of 15 points per game as a favorite in general, and they've covered 6 straight games. Won and covered 6 straight games. They've actually won 9 straight games. But they've covered 6 straight games. Beat the Clippers covered at home, beat the Sixers covered on the road, beat the Wizards covered on the road, beat the Blazers covered at home, beat the Jazz covered at home, and beat the Warriors and covered at home in the most recent matchup. So as a road favorite, 2-0 straight up, 2-0 against the spread. 76ers and the Wizards won both games by 26 and 25 points. So Clippers in this spot for me, only way I'm looking. G Hurd says, there a reason this line is in double digits? I mean, double digits would be, I think, a tad bit too much, G Hurd. Just take the present, man, if you like the Clippers. Don't worry about the reason that there's not double digits. We're not doing that much. And I'll say this, the way that these lines are set, maybe some people probably know this, some people don't, but the way that the lines are set, you can't lay double digits. The Clippers can't be double digit favorites in here. The way that the book set these lines, they look at the data for a lot of things influence the lines when they come out. You got, a lot of it is points scored per 100 possessions, points allowed per 100 possessions. The Clippers are actually only winning games by 2 points this season. If you look at their overall offensive efficiency, they're scoring 111 points on the season. They're giving up 109. So you can't make this a double digit. You can't make this a double digit line in this spot, G Hurd. The Pelicans on the opposite side, they're losing by an average of 13 points, but they do get home court advantage, right? So something else to take into consideration. When you have home court, the line's going to be a little shorter. If you look at the Clippers specifically on the road, it might not be as great either. So all of those things kind of go in, kind of get taken into consideration. You look at the Clippers' last 5 games, they're scoring 105 and giving up 105. So no way you could be laying 10 if your net rating is a 0 last 5 games, even though the Pelicans are minus 12. So just some things to take into consideration. Clippers team total over or pass for Helms. I don't know if Ingram getting traded or not. No idea. Kobe White over for GLB bets. He likes it. Puts it with Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdowns, and the Clippers money line. I couldn't talk you off of that. What up, Lingowick? G421 says Kawhi be like, I'm going to enjoy my Christmas and New Year's. That being said, Clips +6. That's a nope on New Orleans for me. Okay. Let's see. -110. I show 2 Chris halftime, full-time parlay. I like it. I like it as well. Zubac props. Yeah, Zubac he should go crazy in this spot, Livestone. Misi's too small in my opinion. He plays hard. I like to give Misi some credit, especially being a rookie, but they threw that guy out there in the fire, man. Merrill says he likes Herb Jones over his 3.5 rebounds. Clippers might be looking ahead towards tomorrow's game. I don't think so, JW. I don't think so. Let's see. Clippers are, I can give you some numbers real quick. While this loads. Clippers are 5-1, JW. Straight up and against the spread when they're playing on the first leg of a back-to-back this season. Only loss came against the Blazers. They beat the Nuggets outright in this spot, covered. Beat the Kings outright in this spot, covered. Jazz outright in this spot, covered. Sixers outright in this spot, covered. Trailblazers outright in this spot, covered. And they're coming off 2 days rest. So I don't think the look-ahead spot is efficient in this spot. Euphoria says the Pelicans average 121 last three games. That average should go back down. I agree with that. Vaughn says, I don't know what happened to the Pelicans from last year. I can't, for the life of me, figure it out. They didn't make that many moves. I think it's just the injuries. I do think it's the injuries. Brandon Ingram being hurt, Zion being hurt. Jose Alvarado was a big part of that team defensively, and they can't shoot. Like when you look at the Pelicans, there's a terrible offensive teams. Offensive teams don't play well. You got to at least be able to score the basketball in the NBA. The Pelicans are the second worst offense in the NBA, behind probably just the Wizards. They average 106.6 points per 100 possessions. Worst effective field goal percentage shooting team in the NBA. That's why all them seats be empty. 30th. They're shooting 49% on a full season. And even with Herb Jones back, even with CJ McCollum back, even with Trey Murphy and DeJounte Murray, last 5 games, they're still bottom 5 in both of those categories. If you can't score the basketball, you can't win games. That's the way the NBA works. All right, let's jump into the next one. I feel like we took too long in this game. Next one we got up is the Nuggets and Jazz. Line has gotten shorter. This line actually opened. Let's see. I got written in my notes that it opened at 8.5, and I think that's what it opened at. Total open 237.5. I was interested in the over in this game, but didn't quite get there. Probably should have pulled the trigger in retrospect. Here's what it is. So the line has come down in favor of the home dog Jazz, and the total has gone up from 237.5 to 240. Injury report here. We got John Collins listed as doubtful. We got Keontae George listed as questionable. Neither one of those guys played in that last game against the Philadelphia 76ers. And then we got Aaron Gordon is listed as out on the Denver side. Everybody else should be in. Denver, head-to-head wise, dominated this Jazz team. We made some money earlier in the season. Denver was coming off one of their worst losses of the season on the second leg of a back-to-back. They smoked the Jazz in that spot. I think we got them -7.5. They won the game by like 22. And they've owned the Jazz. They've won 7 of the last 10. They've won 4 straight, covered all 4 spreads. All 4 spreads have been by double digits. All 4 spreads was them laying double digits, and they've won all of them. You look at this spot for Denver, it's not the greatest spot. This is the 6th game in 9 nights after they had a 5th game in 7 nights the other day against the Detroit Pistons. They did beat Detroit to get off the losing snide after losing back-to-back games to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Phoenix Suns and not covering either one of those games. So we saw that offense turn up in that game. Defensively, they still kind of Jekyll and Hyde, end up giving up 32 points in the 4th quarter. And that's what it's been for Denver. It's been their lack of defense of consistency. Offensively, they can score the basketball. Even though they don't shoot a bunch of threes, they can score the basketball with the best of them. Whenever you got Jokic out there averaging 30 and 10 assists, Michael Porter Jr. making shots, Russell Westbrook attacking the rim, Jamal Murray finally starting to get into his groove. They're gonna be able to make they're gonna be able to make shots. Defensively, they struggled though. So looking at the Utah side of things, second game back home for them. They've actually lost 3 straight in 7 of their last 10, but they have covered 5 straight now. The Utah Jazz are playing a little bit better basketball. 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games. Their offense is starting to click a little bit, starting to put it together. I think there's been a correlation with the 9-1 to the over with Lauri Markkanen. It feels like he's been a little bit more aggressive. At the beginning of the season, he was looking like a role player. But he has, maybe it's just been his health because he did miss some time. but he's been playing a little bit better. And like I said, I think that correlates with this game, with the totals being 9-1 to the over in the last 10. None of those totals though were higher than 232. That was something else that I wrote in my notes. So the books weren't expecting a lot of points, and they end up going up and over the total. Now the books are expecting a lot of points. Can they get there to the 240 number? And that's what I really want to play. I want to play total in this game. Don't like that I'm getting the worst of the number. It probably does maybe continue to move over. I think the Jazz can contribute here. I think Denver will look at this Jazz team and think to themselves, we smoked this team already twice this season. I think it was 4 times in a row. We won by 15 plus points in all of those games. They won't care as much. The Jazz, not that I think that they're going to win the game, but they have a very difficult. This is probably the most difficult part of their schedule. I was looking into this yesterday. I mentioned this being the second straight road game for them, but the Jazz, they literally just got back home from a 5-game road trip. They played the Clippers, Detroit, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Portland. So they were just on the East Coast. This was 2 weeks ago. They started the road trip. They come home for 2 games. They get Philly and they get Denver. Then they got to go all the way back to the East Coast. Their next game is against the Knicks on New Year's Day. Then they got a Miami and Orlando. So all the way back to the East Coast as well. I kind of feel like, they could potentially score the basketball in this spot as well. This will be the game that they actually, I don't think that they're going to win any of the other games coming up either. So it could be a little bit of a longer losing streak. Like I said, they've covered 5 straight. I kind of lean towards the Jazz, man. I do think I agree with the market pushing this down from 8.5 to 6.5. I didn't bet it, but I kind of want John Collins in as well. I know his ability to rebound the basketball is going to be needed. With no Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson should play a few more minutes, but not really wanting to put too much faith in Peyton Watson. So I want John Collins in. Keontae George gets in. Maybe I'll take the Jazz plus the points in this spot. Just thinking that they can keep it close. I also like the total to go up and over. Just some quick thoughts on this one. Let's see what you guys are thinking here, if anything at all. Jazz plus the 7.5 for Sean's. It's 5-0 ATS last 5. I just talked about it. Euphoria said first quarter is 62.5 over under. What the hell? Yeah, that is a little high. Charles says give him the Nuggets team total over. Should be, that's a high team total. That's what, 120. That's what, 120 for threes. 122 to 119 is something. It should be something like that. Let's double check it. Yeah, 122 is the total for the Nuggets, and it's juiced to the over too. Minus 125 on ESPN bet. They should be able to score the ball versus the Jazz. They should. They have been able to in the past. So I couldn't talk you off. They got to 122 in the last game though against the Jazz, but the Jazz only scored 103. They got to 129 in Denver when they played earlier this season on November the 2nd as well. They've also got the 142 last year and 111 last year against this Jazz team. So totals have been back and forth, over, under, over, under, over, under. The last one did go under 228.5, and this one is a lot higher. So books are expecting points today. T. Harris says he got Jazz plus 7. Euphoria said Jazz first quarter money line plus and plus 2. Real quick on that first quarter look. Last 5 games, Utah is 4-1 against the spread in the first quarter. I know Denver is terrible. They're the worst first quarter team in the NBA. Denver is actually 0-4, 0-4-1 in the first quarter, last 5 games. On the full season, I want to say Denver's the worst first quarter team. They are. They're 10-18 against the spread in the first quarter. Denver Nuggets are terrible first quarter team. Utah is 17-13 against the first in the first quarter against the spread. So people that like that early money want to get in and get out. I couldn't talk anybody off Jazz early in this spot. Specifically at home, the Utah Jazz are 8-5 in the first quarter against the spread. And on the road, the Denver Nuggets are 5-11. Third worst record outside of the Pelicans and the Kings. 5-11 in the first quarter. That makes a ton of sense for you. First quarter, I'm actually going to write that down. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet it. Utah, first quarter. Utah first quarter. Okay. LJ says Denver should smoke the Jazz again, but I feel more comfortable with the over. See that. Brian says the Jazz have been playing good teams lately. Could be a Jazz scrappy spot here. That's something I didn't take into consideration. So let's look into that real quick. All right. So let's just go last 5 games. Jazz had the Sixers. I guess the Sixers are playing better. Sixers burned my money. They had the Blazers, the Cavs, the Nets, the Pistons, the Clippers. So a little bit of easy teams, a little bit of hard teams. The Clippers, good team. Pistons, I guess the Pistons are a good team. I don't know where the Pistons lie. The Nets they won against. The Cavs they lost against but covered. The Blazers they lost against but covered. You can't be losing to the Blazers. And then they were down, I guess, though, and they almost won that game. And then they lost to the 76ers. The Nuggets' last 5 games have come against the Pistons, the Cavs, the Suns, and the Pelicans. Struggled with the Pelicans, went that game with the overtime, beat the Suns, beat the brakes off the Suns, lost to the Suns on Christmas Day, lost to the Cavs, and lost to the Pistons. And beat the Pistons. A lot of overs here. 5-2 to the over last 7 games for the Nuggets. Defensively, they just kind of all over the place, man. Gave up 90 points to the Suns and then gave up 149 to the Cavs. Gave up 126 to the Blazers. Gave up 129 to the Kings. Held the Clippers to 98. Like, you just never know what you're going to get from this Nuggets team. Nuggets are so inconsistent, man. Marquis says he's going to keep riding Colin Sexton. Points, rebounds, and assists. Been cashing over in his last 4 games. Euphoria said this could be a Jazz first half spot. Nuggets come back. I can see that. What's up, Ken? Appreciate you for tapping in. Collins is doubtful. I did see that, Pete. We'll see if he plays or not. You might get a better number. Justin says he's looking at the Jazz team total over. Gonna find the best number. Jokic should eat on the boards. Reem says Nuggets to just win by 1 to 10. Kind of risky though. I think that they should win the game. I do think that they should win the game, but the Nuggets have had some bad losses. The Nuggets have lost a few games this year where you're like, bruh, what are we doing here? Almost lost to the Pelicans. Know that they lost to the Wizards. There's some bad losses in here for the Nuggets, man. Some real bad losses in here for the Nuggets. Lost to the Blazers. Like, yeah, that's risky. Nuggets 1 to 10 for sure. But they should win the game. They definitely should win the game. Zacharias says Walker Kessler rebounds. Says Denver allows the 7th most rebounds to the center over the last 10 games. Live bet the Jazz from behind. You'll get a good number 4th quarter comeback, Brian says. Reem says he's been killing these win margins. 1 to 10 win margins. GLB Best says, looks like a Utah spot. Teams are 1-5 against the spread after scoring 130 points 2 games in a row. So thinks the offense comes back down to earth here. GLB Best says it's hard to think that when you're playing against the Utah Jazz and defensively they've been so bad. Let me see what that looks like. Previous points greater than equal to 130. Previous points greater than equal to 130. This season, 1-5, yeah, 1-5 this season. All right, so 5-1 to the under too. I'm glad you pointed this out, GLB Bets. 5-1 to the under. Real quick, let's do a little bit more research on this real quick. So Denver, Utah. Last 5 games. Last 3 games specifically. Denver's 15th in pace. Jazz are 17th in pace. Denver is 2nd best offensive rated team in the NBA, 3rd in effective field goal percentage, 8th in offensive rebound rate, 4th in free throw rate. Scoring 122.7 points per 100 possessions. Utah is giving up 113.2 points per 100 possessions. They are not getting turnovers. They are 10th in opponent effective field goal percentage, 9th in limited offensive rebounds. So that could limit Denver's offense offense from scoring here. They are fouling a lot though. 24th in free throw rate, sending their opponents to the line a lot. Jazz 13th in point score, 8th in effective field goal percentage, 26th in turnover rate, which doesn't. They turn the ball over a lot, but the Denver Nuggets don't force any turnovers. They're 28th in turnover rate. Denver shooting really good from the three-point line. Not shooting a lot, 30th, and they're shooting the fewest threes, but they're shooting it at 40%, which is fifth best rate over the last 5 games. Denver getting out and pushing in transition. Utah doing a pretty good job of getting back and limiting teams from stopping teams from scoring. So something to take into consideration. Let's see where the Jazz have been scoring the ball from. All right, so the Jazz have been scoring from 3. Shooting a bunch of threes, actually shooting the 4th most threes last 5 games, 2nd in 3-point accuracy as well, shooting 42%. This could turn into a shootout. Utah is 14th in half court scoring, 11th in offensive rebound rate, 3rd in transition frequency. So they're getting out and running. Middle of the pack in points scored. Denver not doing a great job. They're giving up the 6th most points per 100 possessions in transition. All these things are things to look at for sure. Real quick, if we flip this to just look at some trends real quick for Denver and Utah, we'll find that Denver is 6-10 against the spread on the road. Didn't I say this? I said this the other day on the Christmas Day game. I want to say that the Nuggets are the only team, the Jazz are the only team that the Nuggets covered against on the road so far this season. I'm right. The Nuggets are 4-5 against the spread on the road this season, 1-8 against this, 4-5 straight up on the road. No way you could lay points with this team. 4-5 straight up on the road. So not even winning half of their games with their favorites. 1-8 against the spread. The only game that they've won and covered was the time that we took them. They beat the Jazz 122-103. They were laying 10.5 in that spot. Won the game by 19. They have not covered the spread since. I like the Jazz plus the points, man. I like the Jazz plus the points. Utah, I think you can get like a +7 right now, it looks like. So, all right, going back to the other trend. So Denver 6-10 against the spread on the road as a favorite, 6-14, only covering 30% of the time. Coming off a win, 6-9 against the number, only covering 40% of the time. The Jazz at home, 5-8 against the number, only covering 38% of the time. You don't like that as much. As a dog, 15-15, so about 50%. Conference games, only 9-14 against the number, covering 39%. Coming off a loss, 11-11, 50% there. It's not a good Jazz team, man. I kind of want John Collins in. All right, that don't make me feel good. Keontae George, Damien says rebounds. I don't know. We got to figure out if he's playing or not first. Stay away, Mark says. Walker Kessler over his rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. over his threes. Jokic over his points. Murray over his 6.5 assists. Murray said he got a prop for everybody in the whole game. What y'all want? What player y'all want? He got one for y'all. Just let him know. Walker double-double. Walker Kessler double-double. Jokic threes. Murray going crazy. Denver 3-8-1 against the spread as a favorite off a win. All this lines up really well for Utah plus the points. I can't lay this big of a number with Denver, man. I know that they already smoked them. We were on the right side in that game. I'll see what happens with Keontae George. I want him in. I need him in because he helps the offense a lot. Can't really guard anybody, but he helps the offense a lot. I think it's a tad bit too many points for the Jazz, for the Nuggets that are winning by 1 point on the road. Actually losing by a point on the road in totality in their 9 road games so far. Denver has only covered 1 game on the road as a favorite, LJ. 1-8 straight up. I'm sorry, 1-8 against the spread. And that one was the one we got right. They beat the Jazz. Jazz won the second leg of a back-to-back. I remember that. All right, so that's that game. Plus the points. Only thing that I could be looking at in that game. Couple more. And I got to go quick. I thought the slate was smaller than this. Next up, Blazers and 76ers. Yeah, because we still got 2 more games. I've been already talking for an hour. All right, 76ers and Blazers. Line open 6.5. It's down to 5.5, right? Back up to 6 now. Went down to 5.5. Now it's back up to 6. Total open 223.5, down to 222.5. It looks like consensus down to 222 on a couple books as well. So we got injury report first. We got Jeremy Grant listed as questionable. I think it was something going on with his face. I didn't watch the last game when they played against the Dallas Mavericks the other day, but I guess something happened to his face. He's listed as questionable. Facial contusion. And then you got Kamara also listed as game time decision. He is listed as questionable as well. Joel Embiid, Robert Williams, also game time decision. He's listed as questionable. So a couple guys on the injury list for them. Banton, I think, is also game time decision. Thought I saw that he was out, but he's listed as questionable as well. And then Embiid also listed as questionable. I feel like Embiid's going to be listed as questionable every game. Drummond also didn't play in that last game against Utah. He is also listed as questionable. So a lot of injuries on the injury report in this one. Eric Gordon, game time decision. He didn't play the last game. KJ Martin is rolled out. So a lot of injuries going on here. For Philly, they have been winning games. They're 7-3 straight up in their last 10 games. Only 5-5 against the number, though. They've actually won 3 straight, but have only covered 1 of their last 5 games. So they're doing just enough to win the game, and that's what we saw. I put my money on them in the game on Saturday against the Jazz. I bet them first quarter and full game. They covered the first half, did not cover the full game. Feels like Embiid still kind of working himself back in. Maxey is by far the best player on the team, and Paul George can't make free throws, which is the reason why they didn't cover the full game. So not really wanting to lay points with the Philadelphia 76ers. We know that the Blazers are just kind of Jekyll and Hyde, a really up and down type team. They have been playing a little bit better as of late. You could say it's because Chauncey Billups lost his grandmother, so they, kind of trying to rally around him. Third straight home game for them. They are coming off back-to-back wins. They beat the Jazz and beat the Dallas Mavericks the other day as 4.5-point home dogs. 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. Offense has looked a little bit better, including 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. But we know this Philly team plays slow. Offensively, they can be super limited at times as well. I'm just not in a spot where I want to lay points with the Philadelphia 76ers as of yet. I guess I agree with the movement with the line coming down. Philly has showed me nothing to make me want to lay points with them as a favorite on the road, especially, 3 possessions. So I guess I'd be looking towards Portland in this spot. But of course, I want Jeremy Grant in because he helps the offense a lot. Kamara is probably their best defender, so I want him in. Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons could potentially struggle in this spot. I feel like Philly has been doing a pretty good job against guards specifically, but just a slight lean, I guess, towards the Portland Trail Blazers in this spot. And no thoughts on the total. I feel like it's appropriately set. I can see this game squeaking up and over 222. I can see it, potentially, going a little bit under as well. But Philly's been playing so slow that I don't really want to take overs. Portland has been playing a lot faster, so it's really just going to be dependent upon who dictates pace, in my opinion here. Real quick, these team totals for this game: Philly 113.5, Portland 107.5. So I don't know, man. I'm probably not playing this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. We'll get into the next one. Aiden over his 14.5 points from Merrill. Portland first quarter at home could be a look. So going back to the first quarter numbers on the full season, Portland is on the full season at home specifically, Portland is just 6-9 against the spread in the first quarter. The 76ers on the road are 9-6 against the spread in the first half. So take with that information, do what you want. Overall, in general, Portland is 13-18 against the spread in the first quarter, and the 76ers are 14-15. So neither one of these teams really great in the first quarter in totality on the full season. Last 5 games, Philly's 3-2 against the spread in the first quarter, and the Portland Trailblazers are 3-2. So nothing really stands out there. Just sharing some numbers. Merrill says Maxey goes off. I can see it. He has been carrying, feels like everybody, been carrying the team. Over 23.5 points. In fact, I'm going to pull this one up real quick. I do think Maxey is better on right now. Feels like he's been the most consistent player on the team. It is not even a feel. He has been. Not even a question. Let's look at Maxey real quick. Again, for people who joined late, this is Outlier. If you guys are interested in checking Outlier out, use the link in the description. It'll get you a 7-day free trial. So this is Maxey full season. You can see his points prop. Oh, never mind, my fault. You can see his points prop listed here, 27 and a half. Merrill said, you said 23 and a half? Where you get 23 and a half from? I know this ain't go up that much overnight. So 27 and a half is Maxey's points prop. I thought 23 and a half felt a little light. You can see Portland, bottom 10 defense in allowing points to the point guard position, bottom 10 to the shooting guard position, bottom 5. So they do give it up to guards, which makes sense. Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe are not great defenders at all. We can look at Maxey on the road. He's played 12 road games, 50%. Two of his last 3, including back-to-back against Boston and Utah. You can take out that. You can look at games with Joel Embiid, because I do think that he's going to play today. Last 3 games with Embiid, so some consistency here. You love to see that. San Antonio 32, Boston 33, Utah 32. You can see the shot attempts with Embiid as well, and these three right here just kind of let me confirm that Maxey is taking the approach of, I still got to be the best player on the floor and not just rely on Joel Embiid as he comes back. That's what I think about when I see these 3 greens right here. Field goal minutes, 40 plus in each of the last 3. Field goal attempts, 25, 23, 23. You love to see that. 39%, 52%, 48%. Threes, 11, 9, and 13. You love to see that. He's being aggressive for sure. Looks like he's shooting 5 free throws a game at 82%. I like Maxey. I could definitely see Maxey having a really good game here. Over his 27 and a half points. I want to see if there's a better number available, but I like this look. I kind of was thinking Maxey from a player prop perspective as well. All right, that's that. Let's go back through the rest of the comments and then get to the next game. Shaedon Sharpe over is 16 and a half for Merrill. Kind of like the over in the Philly game. Rest at home dogs playing a non-conference opponent, 20-13-2 to the over. GOB bet says. Okay. Euphoria says Portland is covered and won their last 3. Should give this one up. First quarter wise. LJ says Portland team total under first quarter. They can't score early. Okay. Jadon says stay away from me. We'll talk about this game in just a second, man. Maxey kills me every time I bet him, Jose says. 26 and a half. Okay, 26 and a half. So to this comment right here from press conference, he says, if you were to bet football, what data app would you use? If you use Outlier for basketball? So Outlier has football as well. It's not a football program. Not at the moment, it's not, but Outlier has football as well. So if you guys are interested, Outlier has everything. If you guys are interested in checking out football props, real quick to press conference point, you go up to the top here. So you go back, all the sports are listed here. So you can see college football, college basketball, soccer, NHL, MLB, and WNBA. They cover everything. So NFL for tonight. you can find whatever it is that you want. You can even change the stuff by the odds, which is crazy to me. You could just find, you know what? I don't want the odds to be less than minus 130. All of that stuff that will pop up for today's games with odds of less than 130. Like Jared Goff interception, under an interception for Jared Goff. Just super quick, just showing you how it works. Jared Goff only has 2 games this season where he's thrown an interception. You can get his under a half interception at plus 102 tonight. Just kind of real quick, showing you how it works. You can see he's only thrown an interception in 5 of his 15 games. So he's covering not throwing an interception in 67% of his games. So I mean, like I said, Outlier is crazy, man. It's so crazy. You can see interceptions force here for the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, it's a lot of things that you can use. This is just a quick example of, you know, what you could use and you can look up player props. You can just sort this by hit rates, last 5, last 10. Underdog. I mean, I keep saying underdog. Outlier is crazy, man. Definitely encourage you guys to check it out, no matter what sport you're betting on. Makes it so you don't have to start yourself. You can kind of just look at, you know, some stuff that's already been going on. All right, next game up, we have the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings. Kings are laying 4.5 points. This number has moved to 4.5. Hold on. The number has actually moved to, it looks like consensus is 3.5, but it's 4s out there right now as well. Total open to 27.5 up to 228.5. 229s are also available and come down because I got it at 230, which is what it was. So open 228, went up. Now it's actually being bet back down, kind of staying right in the middle now. All right, so we got injury report for the Dallas Mavericks, which is important. Derek Lively is listed as questionable for this game. He has not played in the last 2 games for the Dallas Mavericks. Super important, Derek Lively is. No Luka, of course, and Najee Marshall is out. Najee Marshall is out for the suspension. PJ Washington will return in this game from his 1-game suspension from the little dust-up that they had with Nurkic. On the Sacramento Kings side, everybody is in. Jay Crowder is listed as game-time decision. Looks like he's listed as questionable with a back injury. He's not that important. Hasn't really been that important for them as of late. So we got a Dallas Mavericks team that has actually won the last 2 games going back to last season in the head-to-head matchup versus Sacramento before losing the first 2. It was interesting when I was looking into it last night because Dallas actually won the 2 games in Sacramento last year. Sacramento won the 2 games in Dallas last year. So both road teams have won both of the games. They've also covered the spreads as well. Dallas is coming off a bad loss. They lost to Portland by 4 on the second leg of that back-to-back after beating the Phoenix Suns. So 3rd game in 4 nights for them and a 4th game in 6 nights for the Dallas Mavericks. Not the greatest spot here. Sacramento, 3-7 straight up, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. They've lost 6 games in a row now, and they failed to cover all 6 of those spreads. Sacramento is Sacramento, man. Eventually, I guess they'll figure it out. I'm not betting on them to do it. It would only be Dallas in this spot for me. Real quick, I did not go through this game as far as like matching teams up. I kind of ran out of time last night, got tired. So I want to do that really quickly. We know with Luka off the floor, Dallas has been playing a lot faster. The Kings are coming off a game where they gave up 130 to 140 points without LeBron James. And I'm just not seeing anything defensively from this team right now. So I think the over is the right way. I think Dallas should be able to score the basketball. PJ Washington comeback is going to help the offense and the defense. So I think that's the way that I would be looking, is probably grabbing the points and then a look towards the over as well. Yeah, I think it'll just be played at enough pace that Sacramento will be able to score the basketball as well. So real quick, I'm just match the 2 teams up. Try to figure out if I can get there with Dallas. So Dallas offensively, 8th in points scored per 100 possessions last 5 games, 10th in effective field goal percentage, did not turn the ball over, 9th in that category. Getting to the free throw line at the 10th highest rate. They are playing really slow, 25th in pace last 5 games, only 98.4 possessions per 48 minutes. And then on the Sacramento side, defensively, terrible. 26th in points scored per 100 possessions, 28th in opponent effective field goal percentage, not forcing turnovers, 26th in opponent turnover rate. Only thing that they are doing well is not giving up offensive rebounds. They're limiting teams to the fewest offensive rebound opportunities over the last 5 games, and they're sending teams to the free throw line a lot, 23rd in opponent free throw rate. Dallas is scoring the ball. It looks like they're taking a lot of long mid-range shots, 4th in frequency, 11th in accuracy, 7th in above the break 3 frequency, 17th in accuracy. Overall 3-point frequency is 13th and accuracy is 11th. So Dallas is shooting the ball from the 3-point line. Problematic for the Kings defense because they're 27th in opponent 3-point accuracy. Last 5 games on the full season, they're 28th in opponent 3-point accuracy, allowing teams to shoot 39% for the full season, 39.5% over the last 5 games. So the Kings defense has been bad from 3. I know the Lakers shot, I think 50%, almost 50% from the 3-point line. The Lakers not even a great 3-point shooting team. Dallas is scoring in the half court, 6th in points scored per 100 possessions in the half court last 5 games. Sacramento dead last in opponent points scored per 100 possessions in the half court. Dallas not really pushing pace too much. They are 11th in frequency, but not scoring a lot. 28th in points scored per 100 possessions in transition. So you kind of like that if you like Dallas, because the Kings have been doing that thing well, which is the one thing that they've been doing well on defense, is getting back and not giving up a ton of transition points. Defensively, I mean, everything is red. The only thing that the only shot zone I see from a frequency perspective is they're not allowing shots at the rim. But when teams get to the rim, they shoot 93%, which is the worst in the NBA, which is the Sacramento Kings defense. They're also running teams off the 3-point line. Above the break 3 frequency is 7. I'm sorry, they're number 1. But when teams are taking those shots, they're still making 37%, which is bottom 10. All right, opposite side, Sacramento offense versus the Dallas Mavericks defense. Sacramento, 20th in points scored per 100 possessions, 25th in effective field goal percentage, so not shooting the ball well at all, only averaging 109.7 points per 100 possessions over their last 5 games. They are doing a good job protecting the basketball, 6th in turnover rate, 26th in free throw rate, so not getting to the free throw line. They are shooting a ton of shots in the paint, 3rd in paint frequency. Dallas's defense is 5th in opponent paint accuracy. So they're doing a really good job. The Dallas Mavericks are limiting teams from scoring in the paint. Sacramento also shooting a bunch of mid-range shots. They're 4th in frequency, 10th in accuracy last 10 games. Dallas, number 3 in opponent mid-range accuracy. So they're doing a really good job of defending the shot zones that the Sacramento Kings like to shoot the ball from. Sacramento is not a great 3-point shooting team. We've been talking about this all season. Actually, the 4th worst 3-point shooting team on the full season at just 33.9%. Last 5 games, they're actually the 2nd worst at 30.2%. Sacramento, 5th worst half-court offense last 5 games. Dallas, 4th best half-court defense last 5 games. Sacramento not pushing pace. They're actually 2nd slowest pace team as far as transition frequency, 5th in scoring when they do get out in transition. But Dallas has also been a really good defensive team in transition. 5th in accuracy, 4th in opponent points per 100 possessions allowed in transition. All of this, and I'll go over to some trends real quick, but all of this just aligns, in my opinion, and me and Justin were talking about this in the Discord last night. If Lively plays, I will be on the Dallas Mavericks in this spot. I just want Lively in, and I kind of want to see if he plays. I think Dallas wins the game outright. Sacramento is 10 and 21 against the spread so far this season, covering just 32% of their games. At home, they're the worst ATS team in the NBA, 4 and 13 against the number at home, covering 23.5% of their games. As a favorite, they're 7 and 16 against the spread, covering 30.4% of their games. Against the conference, they're 7 and 16 against the spread, covering 30% of their games. Coming off a loss, which they're coming off 6 of them, 6 and 11 against the spread, covering 35% of their games. The Dallas Mavericks, so all of those are 35% trends or less covering rate. The Dallas Mavericks on the opposite side, 18 and 13 against the number. On the road, 9 and 7 against the number, covering 56% of the time. As a dog, 7 and 3 against the spread, covering 70% of the time. Against the conference, 13 and 10 and 1 against the spread, 56% of the time. coming off a loss, 7-3 against the spread, 70% of the time. So yeah, it's Dallas in this spot, man. I know the Kings need a confidence boost and win. I know Dallas is without Luka. Blah 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 blah. If Derek Lively's in, I'm taking Dallas. That's the only way I'm looking to play the game. Real quick, just to get some updated numbers for Dallas with Luka on the floor versus off. Luka on the floor, the Dallas Mavericks are scoring 121 points, giving up 112. So they're plus 9.3. Luka off the floor, Dallas scoring 114, giving up 111, plus 2.4. So they're still a plus without Luka on the floor. The real thing here, in my opinion, is PJ Washington. Talked about this when we talked about the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Cup game. PJ Washington on the floor, the Dallas Mavericks are a plus 8.5, scoring 120 points, giving up 111.5. PJ Washington off the floor, plus 3.14, scoring 115 and giving up 112. So that's a plus 5 net rating for PJ Washington on the floor. I think they need him. I do think that they need him. He's going to play tonight. And then the last but not least was Derek Lively. Derek Lively on the floor. The Dallas Mavericks are plus 12.3 in net rating, scoring 118, giving up 106. Derek Lively off the floor. 117 is what they're averaging, giving up 115.5. So humongous, advantage when Derek Lively plays. I want to say that I don't know if he went through practice or not. Not going to lie and say I know that, but I'll go back and check the beat writer stuff. I think Dallas could be my second top play today. Dallas plus the points here, plus the 4 is available on a couple sports books now. Feels like we're getting a little bit of discount without Luka being there. All right, those are my thoughts. Kind of like a quick cap. That's what I would do if I wasn't on the show. I just talked out loud. What are you guys saying about this one, if anything at all? Yeah, MLB is on there as well, Eric. If you're talking about Outlier, Euphoria says Kings minus 3.5. Jose says line is too fishy. Kings a good money line parlay. They do suck, but they should break their 6-game losing streak. I'm with you, Justin. Plus 4.5. When he bet it, who's laying points with the Kings? Really, really difficult to do, Brian. I couldn't do it. Mark says he's on it as well. Fox gonna be motivated after he lost the last game. What you mean the last 6 games, right, Shadow? He can't win a game. Feel like they can't win. JLB Best says another potential over. Rested home dogs off a road loss 26-9 to the over when the total is higher than 225 here. Dallas team total is 112.5. I think that they get there. Kings team total 116. I don't know if they get there. Merrill likes DeMar DeRozan. He likes PJ Washington. He likes Kyrie. He likes Sabonis. He likes Kevin Huerter. Jose likes the under. Justin says, I think the Mavs, with or without Lively, if Lively gets ruled in, you're going to get a worse number. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think, going back through that Portland game, listening to the post-game interview and listening to what Kyrie said and just the team in general, they lacked a lot of size without PJ Washington and without Derek Lively in that game against the Portland Trailblazers are a big team. I mean, they got, a lot. They got trees down there, a bunch of trees. The Kings aren't necessarily that big of a team. Like, they got Sabonis, but outside of that, they are like pretty small. So I guess you, to your point, PJ Washington being back, Daniel Gafford should be enough to, I wouldn't say stop Sabonis, but kind of slow him down. And then you just need to rebound the basketball without Derek Lively being out there. I just know how much he helps the team. So one of the reasons I haven't bet it yet. PJ Washington double-double. He knows that 4 points they just lost by was on him. 25 plus combo is plus 135. Give me that, Pete says. Dallas with the points. Sabonis over his 5.5 assists. Keegan Murray over 10.5 points and over 6.5 rebounds for 1780 guap. There is a new coach. It is the assistant coach. His name's Doug Christie. He long-time Sacramento Kings player for people that's been watching the NBA for a while. I remember Doug Christie and Kobe getting into it back in the day. Still didn't play any defense for him though. Justin says 0-5 last 5 that I've gotten CLV in the NBA. Just saying. That's why I'm gonna wait until Derek Lively gets ruled in, Justin. Marquis says he likes the over. I would be looking towards the over in this game as well. I would be looking over, thinking that it plays at a faster pace, in my opinion. And I think I went over pace numbers. Last 3 games specifically, Sacramento's 19th in pace. Dallas is 25th in pace. You don't like that as much. Both of these teams playing pretty slow. On the full season, Sacramento's 13th in pace and Dallas is 15th in pace. So both teams have been playing faster. Now they've been playing slower. So some of the things kind of take into consideration. Bobby Ball-headed Jackson, Peanut Head Jackson. Bobby Jackson used to give us buckets though. I remember Bobby Jackson with the long shorts. All right, Kings would be my endorsement for this game. Next one up. And last one on the board. Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors. Line open 3.5, up to 4.5. Come back down to 4 now since the show has started. We got, I think, just Isaac Okoro out when we look at the injury report for the Cleveland Cavaliers side. Yeah, just Okoro. Brzezinski is out for Golden State. Gary Payton II is out as well. And Moses Moody is, I think, going to return in this game. So that's the injury report. Head-to-head, we got a Cleveland Cavaliers team that when they've been playing against Golden State, they've been winning. They've won 3 straight after Golden State had owned them for a while. Golden State had actually beat them 7 straight times in the head-to-head matchup. Cleveland has covered all 3 of the games that they've won in the most recent 3 games when these 2 teams have kind of matched up. Last season, they were 4.5-point dogs in Golden State, and they won the game outright 118-110. Situationally, we know that the Cleveland Cavaliers have been playing a lot better than the Golden State Warriors. They are 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in the last 10 games. One more thing I want to check real quick. Okay, I wanted to see if this was an ESPN game. It's not. The Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings are actually an NBA TV game tonight. So interesting to note. All right, getting back into this. Cleveland, 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games, 7-3 against the number. They've won 6 straight. They've covered 3 of their last 4. Second game of a West Coast road trip. First leg of a back-to-back with the Lakers tomorrow. They have 2 days rest in this spot, and they're 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games. Cleveland's offense has been number 1 in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors, 3-7 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. They beat Phoenix to end the 3-game losing streak, but it failed to cover 4 straight games before that. Second straight home game for them with 1 day's rest. They're 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. So 2 teams, just, Cleveland scoring a lot, Golden State not scoring a lot at all. I was looking through this game last night, and I sent out Cleveland. I'm on Cleveland in this spot. I got a 4, thinking that the line would move to, 5 potentially. I think it might have touched 5, and now it feels like some buyback has come in on the Golden State Warriors in this spot, and I kind of expected that. Nobody is really betting against Golden State as a home dog. They've been profitable in this spot. I think Cleveland continues to roll in this spot, though. I sent this out to the members last night, and part of my handicap was one is that Cleveland is rested in this spot, 2 days rest compared to just 1 for Golden State. I don't think that this is just an extremely professional team. Golden State needs a win in the worst possible way. I get it. They're coming off a win. I just don't think they have enough to keep up with this Cleveland Cavaliers offense, though. Golden State offense last 10 games is 19th. They're scoring 110.4 points per 100 possessions. The Cleveland Cavaliers are scoring 132.4 points per 100 possessions in their last 10 games. Number 1 in effective field goal percentage. They're not turning the ball over. 4th in turnover rate. You just need, and I said this last night, you just need Golden State not to get hot from the 3-point line. And Golden State hasn't really shot the 3-point shot well recently. To put some numbers to that, because we know if the Cleveland Cavaliers has an Achilles heel, it's their ability to defend the 3-point line at times. To put some numbers to that, Golden State last 5 games, 26th in 3-point accuracy, shooting just 31.5% from the 3-point line. 22nd in above the break 3-point accuracy, shooting 32%. Corner threes, they're 19th in frequency, 28th in accuracy, shooting 29.5%. All of that's important because the Cavs 3-point defense is terrible. But outside of that, you still, even if the Cavs struggle to defend the 3-point line, you still got to keep up with them and score the basketball. And I think that's where Golden State could struggle. I don't think Golden State's offense is good enough to keep up with the Cavaliers' defense, even if the Cavs are giving up 3-point shots. Being honest with you guys, the Cavs' 3-point defense, 29th in opponent 3-point accuracy, allowing teams to shoot 41.7% last 5 games. 28th in opponent above the break 3-point field goal percentage. We know Golden State's want to shoot a ton of threes from the above the break. We need the Cleveland Cavaliers to guard that shot zone. Outside of that, I don't think Golden State's going to be able to score the basketball. Golden State may try to run. Cleveland's been pretty good against transition. Golden State half-court offense is 29th, so their second worst half-court offense. The Cavs defense is 12th over the last 5 games. So yeah, I like the spot for Cleveland. I also put excuse me. I also put this in my notes. Cleveland's last 9 wins, each one of them have come by double digits. Meanwhile, 6 of the 7 losses for the Golden State Warriors in their last 7 games have come by 6 or more. So if they lose by margin. If they win the game outright. Golden State is 9-4 against the spread as a dog this season. That's a super profitable trend if you like the Golden State Warriors. They're also 8-5 to the under. I agree with the total coming down. Like I said, I think if Golden State's going to be competitive in this game, it's going to be because of their defense, not necessarily because of their offense. And as a home dog, I just kind of feel like that's what Golden State does. This is where they typically play a little bit better. Trend-wise for the season, Golden State's only 7-8 against the spread at home, 46%. As a dog, like I said, 9-5 against the spread, covering 64%. That's the strongest trend that you like if you like Golden State. Non-conference, 3-3 against the spread, coming off a win, 7-8 against the spread, 46%. The Cleveland Cavaliers are green, boy. When I tell you they're green, so they not only are they, got the best record in the NBA or the set. Yeah, they got a higher win percentage than the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC is 26-5. Cleveland's 27-4. So not only do they have the best, record in the NBA, but ATS-wise, they're covering 71% of their games, 22-9 straight up. And it's not just at home. On the road, they're 9-4 against the spread as well, covering 69% of their games. As a favorite, 19-9 against the spread, covering 68% of their games. Non-conference games, 6-1 against the spread, covering 86% of their games. Off a win, 19-7 against the spread, covering 73% of their games. So short number like 3.5, 4. I just played it. I think I gave it out at 4 last night. Yeah, I gave it out at 4 because it opened at 3.5. I am on the Cleveland Cavaliers in this spot. I'm expecting some people to be on the Warriors. I do, but I'm not. I won't be. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Give me the dog going back to the last game. I'm sorry. G421 says, give me the Mavs team total over. Mavs minus 3.5. How are they going to get Kyrie over 28.5 points? Kyrie's coming off of what, 44-point game? That's a fact, Jamrock. That's a fact. It was a dog. Christie hates the Lakers, and they still got smoked. What up, Prestigious Prodigy? Says he's late, but he'll watch the replay. Justin says, I want to bet the Warriors. Talk me off. I'm not on the Warriors. Not on the Warriors today. Maybe if you fade the Cavs, it'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a back-to-back with the Lakers. I'm not fading the Cavs up coming off rest, though. Mark says he got the 4 last night. TC Best says Mobley over 17.5 points. Cash won one time they played this season, 7-10 over the last 10 games. Steph's going to have to play all 48 minutes, so the Cavs bench blows this one out by halftime. Rolling with you, Chris, on the Cavs. Let's cash it, Pete. Let's cash it. Only bet that I play so far today. Jose says, let's go. Smash the like for our guy. Giving us almost 2 hours of great capping. Way too long on this show. Brian says Cleveland all day. Cavs here. Appreciate you, Brian. Jalen says Cavs minus 3.5. Mobley 15+ points. Has cashed 15+ points 72% of the time. Recorded 723 in the most recent matchup against Golden State. So a lot of love for Mobley in this spot. Home dog or pass here for G Hurd. Okay, opposite side. I just don't see how Golden State can defend this Cavs team. Right there with you, Euphoria. Right there with you. I'll say this real quick, and then we'll get into a quick recap. it's been so many times where I, come on the show and I'm like, man, like I think this team could go ahead and win this game, but sharp money's coming in on this, or the spreads come back down, and I just kind of get talked off my spots, man. And if you've been doing that, well, you kind of talk yourself off your spot. If you've been doing that, like, you've lost a lot of money with the Cavs, because it don't really matter the spot. They haven't lost a game since they lost to the Miami Heat. Now, granted, they're going to lose a game eventually. They haven't lost a game since they lost to the Miami Heat. In Miami, if you've kind of caught yourself saying, I'm not sure if I want to take the Cavs in this spot or not, you've lost a lot of opportunities to make some money this year. I know that was me at the beginning of the season with the not even beginning, maybe last month with the Memphis Grizzlies. I just recently started taking Memphis first half. It's extremely consistent. That's what we look for. You don't want to be catching the falling knives, in my opinion. You want to bet on the consistency in the NBA. There's a couple things we know that's going to be consistent. The Thunder going to play defense. The Magic going to play defense. The Cleveland Cavaliers going to win in cover. Just gave you guys 7 trends that tell you that they've been, super profitable in all of these different angles. I'm not catching the knife with the falling knife with the Golden State Warriors, man. Best of luck on your action for today, especially if you're riding with the Cavs in this spot. All right, so quick recap. Let's jump into it. Like I said, Cavs, the only thing that I did bet, minus the 4 for me, and you can still get the 4 right now. Going through and adding, though, what we talked about on the show. And this is greener than the light that tells you to go, because we bet that already. All right, short list. We have short list. We got Chicago, Charlotte. Back at the top, under 226, I think, was the total. I would wait to see what happens with Brandon Miller and LaMelo in that game before I play the total. Kobe White over, back in his hometown, over 17.5 points. No Ayo DeSumo. I think that's a really good look for tonight. Take this off the screen. Take you for it coming off the screen. What else we got? We got Clippers 1-10 win margin. Is that line has come back down to 5. I'm not sure if like something going on with the injury report or not, but I think the Clippers win the game outright by 5 too. Clippers first half full game on the money line for people that are interested in that. Like I said, that's available on FanDuel and DraftKings. Pelicans team total under. A lot of ways to get paid in that game. Pelicans team total under 108.5. That Utah game, Utah first quarter, somebody mentioned it. I think you can get a +2. And Utah just for the full game, +7. I mentioned the Denver Nuggets 1-8 against the spread on the road so far, laying points as a favorite. And then second favorite player prop, just probably riding the guy that's hot right now, Tyrese Maxey, over his 27.5. Could be a potential 26.5. I got to double check that. But these would be the ways that I would play the games for today. A lot of ways to get paid today, man. A lot of ways to get paid today. Only official play that I've made so far is the Cleveland Cavaliers minus the 4. I don't want to talk too loud. I'm going to actually whisper this, but I think I am 6-1 last 7 plays in the NBA going back to Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday has actually been really good to me overall on the plays that I've been sending to the members. If you guys are interested in, getting the plays when I make them, you can hit the link in the description of the video and become a member at the ChrisBeCappinn Community tier, and it'll send you my plays as soon as I make them. That's the show for today. Resources, I went through all of these on the show. Referral code ChrisBeCappinn will get you 50% off of jaXon at the top. Remember, jaXon likes the under as well in the Chicago and Charlotte game today. Outlier, 7-day free trial in the description of the video for all sports, player prop wise. You can look at sides and totals if you want to as well. Money Baller, 50% off using promo code ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's, 2 N's. OddsJam, Sportsbook referral page. A lot of great resources that I use to handicap the games. Best of luck on whatever you guys are playing today. We'll be back tomorrow with some more NBA. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'm out.